the Southern Zonal Representative to the National Executive Committee of the PPAG. She has provided support to refugees and other vulnerable persons, especially for the prevention and response to gender-based violence in a number of countries in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite Anita Akumiah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. French to
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Serge, pour votre présentation. C'était précis et vraiment clair. And thank you, Madame Lillian, for your presentation. It clearly sets the stage for me to speak to you this morning. Involving the youth in addressing global and national issues is not only empirical, but also doable. The imperative on youth involvement in all aspects of human development has assumed a greater focus in the era of HIV infection. The context of my presentation is to ask the question, why, in the midst of the incontrovertible evidence on the gains we derive from youth involvement, is this not happening? I will raise a number of ideas from my perspective as one who has been actively involved in youth from my early years. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to start my presentation with a brief testimony about myself. As the co-chair earlier said, I volunteered with the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana right from the age of 15 in high school. And then I was provided the opportunity to be involved right at the beginning, right from the planning, implementation, right through to the monitoring and evaluation of many HIV and sexual and reproductive health and rights and policies. The skills that I garnered over the period is what has brought me this far, and it is a huge opportunity to stand here to speak to you. Thank you. In the context of the HIV response, I have come to appreciate youth involvement in all ways possible as partners from the conceptualization, formulation, planning, implementation, monitoring and evaluation of policies and programs. However, the bold actions so far from tokenism to realism have been piecemeal, fragmented, and uncoordinated. It is my considered view that we can achieve fast tracking towards ending AIDS with a deliberate involvement of youth. Now let me proceed with my presentation. The outline of my presentation will be as follows: the situation of youth and HIV, commitments to end AIDS among youth, challenges to youth involvement in HIV, suggested approaches for involving youth in HIV, the way forward, and some personal experiences. Next slide. I will not talk much about data because my previous speakers spoke about it. So I'll just move on. As we can see, if current trends continue as it has been shared, hundreds of thousands more of young people will become HIV positive in the coming years. Additionally, AIDS-related deaths among adolescents will increase. The current low rates of HIV diagnosis and treatment initiation among adolescents and young people continues to present a significant challenge to the control of HIV. With a business-as-usual approach to HIV testing and linkage to treatment, reducing new infections among adolescents and youth may remain elusive, especially with the expected youth bulge in Africa by 2025. What is more worrying is that in sub-Saharan Africa, where most young people and adolescents living with HIV reside, only 5 in HIV adolescent girls know their HIV status. Next slide. Can you go back, please? Fast tracking towards AIDS. Please go back.
Back?
Yeah.
Fast tracking towards AIDS is a shared responsibility of all stakeholders, including the youth. Next slide. The UN's Executive Director couldn't have said it better when he posted that AIDS-related deaths are rising among only one population group, and that is young people. We will fail to achieve the end of AIDS if national policies and practices continue to restrict young people's access to HIV, sexual and reproductive health. We must tackle the determinants of HIV risk and vulnerability and facilitate the realization of young people's rights so that they can achieve their full potential in life. Next slide. Since the at the United Nations General Assembly in 2014, African leaders expressed commitments to the UN's goal of achieving 90-90-90 by 2020. On World AIDS Day in the same year, the UN's Executive Director declared that the world is embarking on a fast-track target to end AIDS epidemic by 2030. It is expected that achieving the fast-track target will prevent millions of new HIV infections and AIDS-related deaths, especially among young people, with a 15-fold return on investment. Clearly, ending AIDS requires an all-hands-on-deck approach, and the crucial subpopulation required to achieve this is the youth. Next slide. Since the clarion call to focus on youth, a number of high-level commitments have been articulated. In 2015, there was renewed political commitment among UN member states to launch a set of 17 Sustainable Development Goals to, among others, end for all forms of poverty, fight against inequalities, and tackle climate change, while ensuring that no one is left behind. What is relevant to this presentation are goals 3 and 5, which emphasizes the involvement of youth. Goal 3 seeks to ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all, including the youth, while Goal 5 focuses on achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls towards universal access to sexual and reproductive health. Sustainable development cannot be achieved without assuring that everyone, including youth, enjoy the dignity and human rights to expand their capabilities, secure their reproductive health and rights, find decent work, and contribute to economic growth. Achieving the demographic dividend requires an investment in the youth population as they can position a country to achieve rapid economic growth, given that countries' investments and policies are made in health, education, governance, and in the economy as a whole. The African Union took a decision to devote 2017 as the year of harnessing the demographic dividend through investments in youth. This is against the background that 60% of Africa's population is currently 24 years and below, and that to effectively implement Agenda 2063 and Agenda 2030 for sustainable development, there has to be a conscious involvement and investment of the youth. UNICEF UNICEF and UNAIDS in 2015 launched the All In campaign to galvanize global action towards ending adolescent AIDS. This campaign was launched based on the recognition that adolescents were largely affected, yet neglected in the global AIDS response. The All-In initiative seeks to highlight and mobilize actions for and with adolescents in order to achieve the following targets by 2020. Reducing new HIV infections among adolescents by at least 75%, reducing AIDS-related deaths among adolescents by at least 65%, and reducing stigma and discrimination. The UN High-Level Meeting on HIV and AIDS in 2016 set concrete targets to end the AIDS epidemic by reducing new HIV infections among adolescents 10 to 19, especially young women and girls. They committed to tackling the root causes of risk and vulnerability among adolescents. In October 2017, a new prevention roadmap was launched, targeting the reduction of new HIV infections, particularly among young people and adolescents by 2020. Next slide. While significant progress have been made regarding global policy commitments and efforts to fast-track plans and advocacy for youth, there still remain barriers to youth involvement in HIV. The greatest barrier to youth involvement is cultural issues stemming from primary socialization. So for us as African children, we are brought up to think that an African child should be seen and not heard. Fortunately, through globalization, technology, and education, we have a pool of urban youth who have been able to harness their relevant skills to provide support and a huge impact in decision making. Unfortunately for us, these urban youth are in the minority. Their counterparts who are in the rural areas are in the majority, but have not been afforded the same opportunities. And the situation is even more dire to adolescent girls, youth key populations, and youth with disabilities. Secondly, there is a huge youth leadership gap in the HIV response. While as young people we have been allowed a seat at the table, and we have been given opportunity to contribute our ideas, and we have been allowed to discuss in relation to ending AIDS, it is not enough. For instance, the National AIDS Commissions or councils, which serve as the highest decision-making bodies across the continent, have little or no youth representation. As a result, our concerns and our issues run the risk of falling through the cracks. Secondly, we will miss out on the opportunity to groom young people who can further serve as mentors for other young people. Thirdly, perceptions arising from intergenerational gap. As young people, we see ourselves as modern, as current, and as savvy. And we see adults as archaic and not hip enough. While adults see themselves as intelligent, wise, and knowing, and see us as immature, and not having the requisite skills to make decisions and to have sound judgment. Unfortunately, this misunderstanding between us limits opportunity to develop a critical mass of role models. Moving on. Inadequate support and time by adults for mentoring youth. Mentoring takes time and requires engagement and capacity building. time that most adults can't seem to afford these days, given the recent economic challenges globally. However, this is important if we aim to fast-track the end of AIDS. Finally, there is a huge information gap. The general low education and limited access to health information on social media and disability-friendly outlets limits access of the youth to quality information. This leaves us behind and reduces our involvement in the response to HIV, especially adolescent girls, young people living with disability, and youth key populations, who are mostly infected in Africa. Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, the stage has been set. We have our global targets. We know what the barriers are. What do we do? I believe that the first step to improving youth involvement in HIV is a renewal of our minds. Given how diverse and complicated HIV response is, we need an all hands on deck approach. We need to trust each other, young people and adults, and we need to give each other credit, realizing that we all have something to share, we all have something to bring to the table, and together we can achieve fast-tracking an end to AIDS. Secondly, we need to actively engage the youth in high-level decision-making. While we are grateful for a seat at the table, and we are grateful that our ideas have been solicited over the period, it is not enough. We are ready to assume decision-making roles. We are ready to take the lead, and we are ready to spearhead the HIV response. So invite us, not just invite us, but work with us to achieve a common goal. Investing in country-specific research and M&E for you and with you. It is clear data generation is important for programs. However, there is a pitfall in funding for youth research. We need to make funds available for youth-specific research. Stronger investment in monitoring done by and with young people will help identify critical gaps to inform future policy and programs. Countries also need to disaggregate data for all the various age ranges that fall within the broad term youth to guide development of communication materials and targeted programs to facilitate youth involvement. Against this background, African governments must invest in evidence generation, specifically concerning the youth, as this will translate into their involvement. And we must be involved in all the stages of the policy and program cycle. That is the conceptualization, formulation, adoption, implementation, and monitoring and evaluation stages. It is only through this approach that we young people can own the HIV response and understand the roles we need to play towards the achievement of national and ultimately global targets. Next slide. Every youth will one day be faced with the decision to make critical and life-changing decisions concerning their reproductive health.
If you do that, she will think that she has to stop.
However, research shows that majority of young people lack the necessary information to make responsible decisions. And this exposes us or leaves us vulnerable to coercion, sexually transmitted infections, and unintended pregnancy. There is therefore the need for comprehensive sexuality education, which will lead to youth empowerment and gender equality. IEC materials in many countries tend to be generic and does not respond to the needs of youth, especially adolescent girls, youth key populations, and those living with disabilities. This is mostly because the materials are developed by adults with little or no input from the youth. The youth must be involved in developing youth-specific materials that reflect their respective needs, and social media must be used widely to complement the print and electronic media to disseminate these materials. Development of disability-friendly and key population-friendly youth materials is in line with our call to action not to leave anyone behind, and it is crucial to youth involvement. There must be a conscious effort by countries and institutions to facilitate the exchange of knowledge and good practices. For example, we should be able to finance for more young people to attend ICASA and other global AIDS conferences. As this exposure and these experiences will expose, is a way of exposing young people to new ideas, and is a way of creating a network and a pool of young people who can share ideas and take these ideas back to their various countries and support the HIV and AIDS response. Finally, the concept of sex sharing has been scaled up by many African countries to ensure the achievement of the fast-track targets. To achieve the first 90, countries have begun moving HIV testing from the facilities to the communities. A critical partner that can help with community mobilization, as well as be trained as lay counselors to support the work of healthcare, are the youth. The problems of lost to follow-up and defaulter tracing, especially among youth PLHIV, can be addressed by us. Only by building the capacity of youth affected can we ensure retention in care and contribute meaningfully to the achievement of viral suppression by 2020. Next slide. To summarize, we need to review our laws and policies to ensure that they are reflective of the needs of the youth. Global, national, regional, and decision-making bodies at all levels need to commence steps to include the youth to ensure that their voices are heard and considered in the formulation of future policies and programs that affect achievement of national and ultimately global HIV targets. We need to develop and evaluate new programmatic and policy innovations that are informed by the adolescents and youth they are intended to serve. Data must guide implementation of youth interventions, as that will serve to identify 90-90-90 gaps among the group. Finally, our efforts must target the youth who are most at risk. That is, adolescent girls, youth key populations, and persons with disabilities, by diagnosing them early and immediately treating those who are HIV positive, and ensuring, through appropriate primary prevention efforts, that those identified to be HIV negative are empowered to remain so. Next slide. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you with a few quotes. The more we increase the active participation and partnership with young people, the better we serve them, and the more comprehensively we work with them as service partners, the more we increase our public value to the entire community. We all benefit by having young people exposed to the way things are done in a democratic society. Isn't it time to tap the power of youth? Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it time? Next slide, please. Thank you for your attention up until this point. Ladies and gentlemen, if you look at me, what do you see?
A short one.
Forget danger. Tiny woman.
Yes.
Young girl.
You see a young person But then you also
Petite.
see a young woman from sub-Saharan Africa. It is not easy to be here. It has taken a lot of investment. It has taken a lot of people believing in me. It has taken a lot of people supporting me. And so I want to leave you with this message that we do not involve youth because we want to, but we involve youth because it works. When we involve youth, we see results. So ladies and gentlemen, let us involve the youth. Thank you.